Okay, good morning. Sorry about that. Had a little hiccup, and the first stream through just kind of shit the bed on us. But here we are. Good morning. Good morning.
Live is hard. Such is the thing.
I hope everybody finds their way back over here. So how you doing this morning, Cameron?
Man, I'm pretty darn good. Apologies about yesterday, but man, I was just so shot out from enjoying my extra 16 cents worth of beer and barbecue. I couldn't make it to the show yesterday.
Yeah, it's amazing how much of a difference in the itis it makes when you got an extra 16 cents worth of hot dog in your belly. That's almost one bite.
I know, right? And it was a severe case of the itis. It really was. And just all jokes aside, God, I wish we lived in a world where 16 cents actually made a difference.
You mean like a world that predates the abolition of the gold standard, or a world that predates the constitutional abuse that is the existence of the IRS and or ATF? You mean perhaps a world in which the dollar still has value? Where I don't know, you could buy a horse for $80 or $100, and that was and that was a large sum of wealth, not because the price of the horse was lower than it is, but because the value of the dollar was significantly better. You mean a world like that?
Oh yeah, a world where literally I could not stuff $10 worth of gasoline into my car. Like if I ran it all the way to the dummy light coming on and then filled it up, I couldn't crack $10 to fill the car up. In good old days when gas was 79.9 cents a gallon, days like that.
Yeah, and that was only 20 years ago, but at the same time, dude, that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
let's I think we've given everybody enough time to catch up to the fact that we had a little hiccup this morning and the show started and then it broke and I had to restart it. So I hope everybody found their way back over to the actual live stream. And with any luck, the fact that our topic today is trending on Twitter, and basically our entire topic today is we're going to talk about why this trending topic on Twitter is trending on Twitter. And this, guys, this is what we call a meta conversation. So I'm going to start off by introducing y'all to the topic that we're talking about, and that is this. On Twitter this morning is trending the hashtag Women Are Delusional. And it says 13.1 thousand tweets, which that means that it's gotten another 1,000 and change tweets since I first noticed that it was trending about an hour ago, and Cameron and I did our show prep to start talking about this. See, here's another one. This I hate TERFs tweets, hashtag Women Are Delusion. I piss Ed my pee ants. Preston Waters, Women Are Delusional, and that last reply just proves my point. I pray I get to march upon the remains of ideologies preaching women are delusional. I pray the sway of hate fades before I die. But while this POV is high, I'm a light a blunt of love fog that hatred, clear my lungs of the anger that blinds and swing it like a censer. Okay. I am suddenly amazed by this tweet. I was about to make a lot of jokes about how this particular woman has a rudimentary, and I mean laughably rudimentary grasp of the English language, which is a position that I still maintain, but hey, Shazian, kudos on knowing what the word censor means in that context. That's you wouldn't have stricken me as somebody who had ever been in a church. So, and here we go, NAPF, which, wow, that's an interesting photograph. Why is Women Are Delusional trending? I love women. Well, that is the question that we are going to take a stab at answering. Let's start, before we dig into the psychology, psychopathy, tactical, strategic, and intelligence merits of this particular trend, let me pull up the original tweet. This is where it apparently began about 12 or 14 hours ago. Well, I say 12 or 14 because I'm not sure what time zone this chick's in. So this Sharon Godwin with vulgar emojis says, after 2 months of talking, I told this guy yesterday that I wasn't ready for a relationship. And he responded, "It's been great. Hope you have a good one." And then he blocked me. No effort, no pressure applied. I'm devastated. Cameron, you wanna take that on for a minute?
So, just a couple of things. One, it's hysterical. He did exactly what she told him to do. She said, "I'm not ready for a relationship." So he completely disengaged from her and even blocked her so he would not be tempted to violate her request, which, is the thing that men are supposed to do. But, it's this bizarre thing that women do that I've experienced in my life. And it's just more frequently happens with women. But I love y'all. I do. I love women. I think you're soft and pretty and amazing, and I love you. But y'all, when you do that thing where you say yes when you mean no, and you say no when you mean yes, and then you are confused when you don't get the result you were looking for, that's not on us. You need to say yes when you mean yes, and no when you mean no. And so it seems to me, just kind of reading in between the lines here, that what this girl wanted was for this guy to say, well, hold on now, I love you, things are going good, blah, blah, blah. And he didn't do it. Instead, he was like, wow, okay. And I guarantee you, I know what this guy thought. This is what he thought. This bitch is crazy. We've been talking for 2 months. I thought we were talking because we were moving toward a relationship. And now she's not ready for a relationship.
Yeah, so
I don't need this kind of crazy in my life.
Yeah, a little clarification here, too. Okay, after 2 months of talking, let's be real. We're not talking about some juggalo that walked up on her in a bar and was trying to take her home that night for a little one-night stand. It sounds to me, and okay, there's a lot of, I'll admit there may be a lot of projection, and there's certainly a lot of speculation going into this as I examine this tweet, but it sounds to me like she was dealing with a stand-up guy who attempted to engage her in a reasonable period of courtship toward the establishment of a relationship, rather than the more common present-day hookup culture where you Netflix and chill because you want to have a polite way to say, we went back to my house to have unprotected sex, after which we do not intend to contact one another again. And that's not what she wants. So, I could even take that analysis to the level where the expectation here, especially given the vulgarity of the emojis in her name, that this girl is looking for a one-night stand, a quick hookup, no commitment, no consequences, and I don't mind saying, I have a deeply low opinion of everyone engaged in that kind of sex play. It doesn't jive for me, right? Your Brave New World, frickin' ADEM mercenary, let's hook up in the grass and then act like we've never met each other, is just not. I don't accept this. I find it vulgar, I find it debased, and I find it irresponsible. So, go ahead.
Well, buddy, there's a possibility that she actually was looking for a relationship, and because of basically everything, how we've decided that men can no longer be men and women can no longer be women, and traditional courtship is now somehow this evil and terrible thing, it's entirely possible that she's looking for a relationship, and she simply does not possess the emotional tools in her emotional toolbox in order to engage on that level. Because let's be honest, I know as a guy, if I talk to you, a female, for 2 months, I'm looking for a relationship. I think it's pretty darn obvious that I'm looking for a relationship. And I swear, this reads to me like she sent out a trial balloon, and he said, "Nah, you're crazy. Bye-bye." And that was that.
And for so many reasons, I won't comment too much on how attractive this particular woman is, but let's talk a little bit about the crazy hot scale for a moment. I found my unicorn. My wife is exactly the correct blend of crazy and hot, and we have 4 kids. That's plenty hot. But the crazy hot scale is a thing that I've always been amused by it as a piece of rhetorical jargon. It's a hilarious little tool. The idea being that the more physically, sexually attractive a woman is, the crazier she is, the less mentally stable she is. And believe it or not, there's actually some science behind that. There's actually a bit of science behind that, because as it turns out, the more physically attractive you are, the more it changes the way, or the less physically attractive you are. There is a marked and measurable difference in the way that the world at large treats you. And the higher up the scale of hotness, to use the vernacular, the higher up the scale a woman goes on the hotness side, the more she sort of accumulates levels of entitlement and expectation. And the lower on the scale, the more likely she is to expect that things must be earned, right? So to call it the crazy hot scale, I think is a bit of a misnomer, because it's one of those things that began as a joke, morphed into a meme, and then found its way into actual academic study and enjoyed some attention from a measure of psychologists and psychiatrists who actually basically did some research and came up with this idea that no, there is actually an increase, but it happens at both ends of the scale. It happens at both extremes. You get to the far extreme of attractive or the farthest extreme of unattractive, and there are 2 distinctly different but distinctly measurable psychological impacts on a woman's mental health based on the way that she interacts with the world as a result of the way the world perceives her as a sexual entity, as a potential marketplace product in the sexual and reproductive marketplace. And the literature on it is actually, it's amusing, but it's fascinating.
It doesn't tell you anything guys don't already know. That's I'm going to spend the rest of my life quoting Rush Limbaugh, but he used to say, "As pretty as you think she is, there's already some guy that's that amount of sick of her stuff."
That's also fair. So, and wow, we spent more time talking about it than I expected to before we got into kind of the meat of what's really funny about this. So, like I just showed you that tweet. That's where the tweet originated. It's a bunch of women making fun of this woman for being unrealistic and for being, for having unrealistic expectations and then being cruel to this guy. Well, now that the hashtag is trending, it's flooded with stuff like 5 most annoying things about being a woman, right? Okay. Perfect response to women are delusional. Okay, I'm not reading that on the air. But it's a bunch of, why do I even bother coming on this godforsaken bird app? Yeah, Bree, why do you? Go away. This is my type of hashtag, Gorgeous Mike. Yet men are waiting for September for fantasy football to start up. What? The hashtag is laughable. Men would never have stopped wearing diapers without our help. Yep. Wait, Sandy. Without women, men would never have started wearing diapers. Your historical perspective is very, very narrow if you have not extended it back to toddlers shitting in the woods before we invented diapers. So maybe this whole dichotomy of the genders and having two separate hierarchies up which they climb is a biological inborn imperative that has been around for longer than there have been trees. So maybe you should think or read or shut up. Women are delusional for putting up with men. But see, it's all this. They're attacking the hashtag, and a lot of these are attacking all men because men are evil because they're trending this hashtag. But again, this hashtag, women are delusional, began because a bunch of women were attacking a woman for being unreasonable to a man who was clearly trying to be very reasonable to her.
I know.
Oh, and my dad says my boy was housebroke before he was potty trained. Yeah, so was mine. Dad, real quick, one of the hardest things with Michael was he was housebroke before he was potty trained. He would go pee on the tree, and it's only in the last 6 months or so that I've started to convince him that, son, you can't just stop where you're running and drop trow and pee in the open in front of people. I mean, we don't do that, little buddy. You go in the house and use the potty. If you must, at least go behind a tree. But So here's the thing about the hashtag now. It, like we said, it began women attacking this woman over being unreasonable to a guy who's trying to be reasonable to her, and now the hashtag is trending. But what's trending is not the hashtag itself. It's nothing to do with the hashtag itself. The thing that's trending is because every time one of these women complains about the hashtag, they use the hashtag to complain about the hashtag. This is a positive feedback loop. This is like when you point your microphone at the speaker and it makes that loud squealing noise. None of them know why it's trending, right? Or most of them don't. Many of these tweets read, I don't even know why this is trending, but men are assholes for saying women are delusional. Okay, sweetheart, you're trending a hashtag that was started by a woman about the delusionalness of a particular woman and complaining about men being wrong about women being delusional. By definition, my dear, that's delusional.
I know, right? Like, I dare say it's a bunch of delusional women, like, making this a bigger thing than it actually ever needed to be.
The hashtag is literally only trending because women are complaining about the fact that the hashtag is trending. But it's very clear from going back to the original post that it didn't even start trending until the women, the delusional women, started complaining about the hashtag. So it's really not even fair to say women are delusional is the trending hashtag. Women complaining about women being delusional is the trend. This is hilarious to me. So when we were talking about this in show prep, Cameron asked me if this could have happened before social media. And
my contention is no.
My contention is it would have been almost impossible. Go ahead.
Well, not only would it be impossible, but this also, when you want to talk about meta commentary, this is such a fantastic example of how dangerous social media is and how easily and organically misinformation spreads. We've talked about a lot how Donald Trump didn't say that there were very fine white supremacists at the Charlottesville rally.
Right.
And yet somehow that's the information that got spread across social media. And
that was quite obviously done intentionally. And it is still the case that about 30% of Americans honestly believe that Donald Trump got up there and basically said, I totally support the white supremacists. Like, he explicitly said, these people were white supremacists and I support them 100%. And I'm actually really, really happy that one of them killed somebody with a car. Like that's what they understand the statement to have been when the statement was literally the opposite of that.
Well, no, I just mean not even just that specifically, but this happened all on its own. one misunderstanding, and then it was like wildfire, man. Suddenly there's thousands of people that are all rolling their eyes going, God, I can't believe the patriarchy, and we live in a world of men are such dicks, and I can't believe people would do this. All over a situation where if people researched the original context of the tweet, they would know that the woman was acting crazy, and other women were making fun of her for acting crazy. But now we've just got this beautiful example of how cancerous social media is. This was an accident, and it's gotten 13,000 tweets in just a few hours.
In fact, I've seen several more tweets. Let's see. Oh, it appears to have fallen off the trending list as we've been speaking about it. But they're still tweeting. There are still new tweets coming in on this hashtag. That, oh my God, I mean, psychotic. It reminds me of this thing that we have in the Army called the PNN, the Private News Network. Privates, that's the lowest rank in the Army, which means that, with the exception of the odd senior enlisted that got caught in his barracks room with somebody he shouldn't have been there with and got busted down, you're talking about the youngest people in the Army as well. And they talk. They spend more time together than their superiors do with their own peers, and there are many, many more of them. So we call it the PNN, the Private News Network. And rumor spreads like wildfire, whether it's true or not, through the Private News Network. Another thing that happens in the Army is there are smoke pits, a place where you can go take a break. Normally, when you're walking around on base, you've got to have your cover on, your hat, and if you pass an officer, you have to salute. Smoke pits generally have a sign that say no cover, no salute area, because it's a place where people are supposed to be able to go and take a break and relax for a few minutes, even if you don't go over there to smoke. There are also places that are designed no hat, no salute areas that are just for like eating, so you can go take your lunch there and you don't smoke there. But the smoke pits in particular, it's not just privates that smoke. So most commanders and sergeants major and first sergeants, it's supposed to be all, have an open door policy. So if you have an issue, there are protocols. You're supposed to go up a chain of command for most stuff, but there are circumstances in which the reason the open door policy is there is so that you can go and speak to your superiors directly. Well, if I go as a private and walk into the sergeant major's office, right, I have jumped the gun. I have jumped up over several ranks of the chain of command, and without a damn good reason, I'm probably starting trouble. And if I'm trying to keep it hush-hush, just walking into that office to take advantage of that open door policy immediately puts information on the Private News Network that's going to spread like wildfire. But if I catch the sergeant major at the smoke pit, we're both having a cigarette and we have a casual conversation, I can get the same result as going through the open door policy, and probably a better result, because I can just ask, man to man, hey, Sergeant Major, would this be appropriate for me to, I have this problem. Would it be inappropriate for me to jump my chain of command in this particular circumstance? And he could say no, but here's what you do. And that, getting some advice from the guy that's been doing it for 30 years without it having to be official and without it sparking the fire on the Private News Network is incredibly valuable to young soldiers. On the flip side of that, those young soldiers talk. A smart sergeant major, even if he's not a smoker, will occasionally just go hang out in the smoke pit when there's a lot of privates hanging around chit-chatting and casually listen to the conversation, because what's happening there is he gets to hear an easy measure of the unit's troop morale, and he might even get a little forward intelligence on what the conversation in the unit is about. It could be as simple as, you know what? I heard a dozen privates today complain about the stroganoff at the chow hall. Maybe I ought to go talk to my cooks and see what's going on there, right? Or it might be as important as, oh God, Private Snuffy's going through a nasty divorce, and his wife called the police, and he's got a top secret security clearance, and there might be criminal charges involved because his wife's doing all this crazy stuff, and that could compromise the value. That could compromise one of my soldiers in a very significant way, and I need to go get JAG involved. The intelligence operations, that's paying attention and staying plugged in. And because that is true and it works that way, guess what? The same thing is true about the rate at which misinformation can spread. So a smart sergeant major that hears some random private complaining about, God, it's hard to think of an example. Okay, maybe here's some random private telling another private that's not in the right unit about the deployment that he's about to go on. Whoa, soldier. Now you're sharing FOUO, for official use only information. You're telling people who don't have a need to know information that needs to be restricted for official use only to people who need to know, and we need to nip that in the bud right now. It's not the best example of what I'm talking about, but it's the first one that came to mind. But the importance of the rate and the rate itself, the exponential growth rate of basically gossip communication, is an amazing, powerful, and terrifying thing. And that's basically the only reason that we're even having a conversation about this Women Are Delusional hashtag thing. Still with me, Cam?
Yeah, I'm here. It's just we're coming up on time.
I know we just pushed past it. I could keep talking about this for the rest of the day, honestly, but I know you got to get back to work, and most of the rest of you only expect me to talk for half an hour generally, so I've got some stuff to do today too. You got anything else you want to say to button it up?
Just that you can't put the genie back in the bottle, but this to me is just such a clear-cut example of why social media is cancer. It's cancer.
Yep. And just like a doctor who's never managed to figure out a cure, I intend to profit from this particular cancer. So, y'all be safe out there. I love you, and we'll see you tomorrow.